Hello Automators, welcome to our monthly unboxing and showcase of all the latest and greatest smart home tech. With everything going on, I've got a great show for you, so let's go. Hi there. So this is the Govee TV Backlight T2. Now, this is their most updated model of basically colors that follow your TV. That's what you call it in the end. Now, it's called in visual, advanced color mapping. This is significantly upgraded. I've seen this demonstrated before. Sounds of tech? Yeah. And, you know, right off the hop, that is incredible looking. And yes, it's a camera. It's gonna be looking at your television to see what it needs to do. But already I can feel the upgrade. Here's everything you get in the box with the T2 backlight. Now, you get a quick start guide, a full user manual, and you get a connect with us on social media card. You have some alcohol prep pads, so they're just the swabs, and that's really because you have a full light strip here from them. This is exactly the same as the M1 light strip I showed previously. It's got a big long sticker on it and it can be tough to turn corners, so keep that in mind. You get a USB-C cable, and this is connecting between the controller, which has some buttons on it that you can move between 3 different modes. And that's gonna plug in this USB-C cable into there, into your camera. Now the camera sits physically on your television. It has a USB-C port on the back. There's a pretty heavy weight here and a mechanism that's allowing you to tilt that into the right spot to look at your television the right way. And then you gotta calibrate that all through the setup process. Now I've already said the controller, but it connects with an adapter right here that plugs into your wall to power everything. This is fairly substantial at this point. It's a little bit bigger than it was previously. And then these cubes are just to help you stick them on your television. Obviously don't push hard. And that helps you to guide what the camera is looking at. You also get a number of connectors. These are stickers and they kind of hold down the light strip as you go around your surface. And just some extra 3M stickers here, a little bit of a cable wrap. You know, I keep a lot of these little sticker cable wraps around in my home just so I can make things a little tidier anyway. So that's something to always consider. I'll have links below if you need some of those. Now, a couple of quality things that I want to talk about here. This feels incredible in comparison to the previous version. This is the previous version. I mean, it feels honestly like a little piece of plastic with a camera on the end and a bit of a ribbon cable through, and then it's USB-A. And you get some a sticker there, but honestly, that never worked because you're putting it like this over your television and you're just really hoping that it balances. Now, I always found this one better on the bottom. You're gonna be able to pick that here. But there is one camera here and there is 2 on this one. There's one on each side. So this is a dual camera. The little spring here, or the bending mechanism, feels really strong. I'm not able to move that without really wanting to move it. Doesn't seem like it's gonna fall over time because that would ruin your calibration. You'd have to redo the calibration. And I'll tell you, like, I haven't needed those orange cubes again. I've redone calibration without them, so I don't find this a critical component. The other thing that I really like with this versus the setup I had before, you know, there's nothing wrong with these. These are actually really nice light stands. And they diffuse light really well. They're still bright. The whole system still changes color really well. But this is gonna look a lot better on your television. It's gonna mimic those colors a lot better. You're gonna have all these different points. With these, I had 2. And you can expand the system. You can use other lights with it. But that was it, right? and that meant I had 2 points. So I think a light strip's gonna perform a lot better. Govee's TV backlight is a lot like their M1 light strip, but there's a couple things you need to pay attention to. You definitely need to measure your TV because it's for 55 to 65 inch TVs, and the strips are made specifically for a TV of that size. They even have 4 different segments split apart by this little wire segment, and there's specific segments to go up and down your TV and across your TV. You gotta make sure you get that all right. Now, the installation took me some time, but it was exceptionally easy. You really just have to follow the instructions and make sure that your TV is clean as you move the strip or attach the strip all the way to the back of your TV. You use the clips just like you did with the M1 strip, but those extra wire segments really help you turn corners. You just have to think about how you're gonna do the loops, and in the end, I placed some extra clips on the back of my TV just to make that work out well. Then you have to calibrate with some orange stickers on the corners of your TV, and once you're done that process and you're set up in the app, which just takes seconds and is over Bluetooth and then connects to your home's Wi-Fi, well then you're ready to play. You're never gonna use the controller, but you can go to a music mode that just responds to sound. You can cycle through the colors with that controller, but really what you're gonna end up doing is playing with all the different scenes, which are all the different effects throughout this application. And I've never seen Govee have so many different effects here. There are pages upon pages of effects. Then you can do the music, you can do colors, and you can even segment the colors throughout the strip. Plus, you can decide to either have that be a gradient transition between colors on the light strip, or you can quickly cut to the next color. But the real point is to get this synchronized with the video that's taking place on your television, and you're gonna use that camera up on top. It is quite large, so you might notice it if you have a very bright room, but if you're in a fairly dark room, you're never gonna see that. It just sits there and it analyzes the colors that are on the screen. And then it allows the Govee system to replicate colors. And what's really interesting is that it doesn't just have to be the light strip that's replicating colors. You can attach other Govee lights to this system and then have them all control based on where they are in your room. You can have them be a certain segment of your television screen and react to that. You can turn up or down the saturation, and you can turn up or down the brightness on everything involved in that TV Dream View feature. And honestly, it's one of the best replication systems for colors and visuals behind your television. It's one of the only systems I've really enjoyed, and this latest version of Govee's TV backlight is definitely the best. So this is one that I would suggest you pick up. Just make sure you got a 55-inch or slightly larger television. This is the Karcher high pressure washer, and it's the K5 kit. Now, you probably initially think, why would I be showing this kind of a thing on a smart home channel? Well, there's actually an app for this, Bluetooth connectable, and it has an LCD screen on the device. So I think this is gonna be pretty wild. Now, Karcher's a brand that I've had for many years, actually. I had a previous Karcher pressure washer, just like this one. It looked a lot like this. And I just gave it away to a friend, actually, at one point as we moved into an acreage with kind of more surface area. I just kind of bought an underpowered model. Now, this has some accessories here for, I can see for the nozzle right there. This looks like a handle for carrying. This looks like it's got a little bit of assembly to do. You can see right there. I'm gonna have to put that in. This is usually where like your nozzles and all your attachments kind of sit. This one, I don't know what this is. Oh, I think this, it's gonna hold some of the nozzles you've got there. Here's definitely a handle to pick up the device. And all of these components, they're feeling very strong. There's nothing here that I think is just gonna snap in a little bit of cold weather or even kind of warp over time. This is very well constructed. This is our spray nozzle. It's actually got a pretty good weight to it. I can tell there's a lot of weight at the end here where it does say Karcher. I always have liked, you know, this yellow and black branding that these guys have. It always looks sharp. And there is our little LCD display. So you can see it says Smart Line. So there is a video to watch the pairing process for what they're calling Smart Line. Now, Smart Line is the connectivity process. You can see there's a sync function and it looks like Bluetooth. There's a little trigger here, and obviously we've got our big trigger here. There is a block, and then we've got a little guide here for all the different components that you're getting. And a do not return it to the store if you're missing some parts in the box, which can happen with some of these bigger things. Okay, now, oh, cable. Oh, that's a beefy cable. Get this thing half out of the box, and then I decided I'm gonna pull that. Now, these are always great power adapters, reset and test function. If you need to test the GFCI that's in that, because these can draw a lot of power, and you can see they're showing you all kinds of warnings here. I don't know what California Proposition 65 is. Oh, it contains chemicals including lead. That's quite a long cable. I don't know the total length of that, but that is really nice to have when you need it. Okay, let's see if we can do it without breaking our camera. Oh, whoa, man. Now here's the full manual. I got the big unit out of the box. We're gonna assemble it here in a minute using our pressure washer manual. And then this is giving me a little adapter. Let me show you a couple things here. It's got this great yellow color to it. There's nothing I'm gonna complain about there. I love the look of this button, and actually feels very nice. Feels a lot like previous models, but it's also a little bit stronger, a little bit more rigid than I've seen in the past. Now, when you flip it around, here's the hose reel. Obviously, I gotta snip that whenever I wanna get in there, but I love this little element right here. It's got the hose tucked away, or the end, the nozzle here, tucked away. Obviously, this is how you're gonna make connection to the gun. You're gonna go up, all up in there. What is going on? I don't even know. Oh. Okay, pull that up. I just want to get down there. Yeah. Oh yeah. What are we doing? It's like luggage. It's like a carry-on. And it's not too heavy. Like, I know we're gonna have a little more weight on it. It's not too bad. This isn't something you're gonna wanna carry around forever, but nothing too terrible. I've built a lot more pressure washers than most people just because I've had a lot of them break on me. So it was nice to put the Karcher K5 together in just a few minutes and with just a few screws. The instructions were clear and nothing required a second person to help me. I was even able to film as I built the K5. I purchased an expanding water hose, which I thought could be problematic, but as I got that connected through the Quick Connect adapter and I turned on the K5, I found that everything was working perfectly. There are 3 modes that you can use manually without any of the smart features. There's a mixed spray, which is more like a hose initially, and there is a kind of lower pressure and a high pressure wand setting. The K5 is such an easy pressure washer to use, and Karcher was nice enough to send me some of their detergent, so I was able to clean an incredibly dirty garage floor in mere minutes. It's not the largest garage, but left through a Canadian winter, it was extremely dirty, and this thing was peeling dirt and grime and crud off of the garage floor without even trying to use the app or any sort of smart features. But then you can use the app, and although it took me a number of times to get this paired correctly to the app, there were a few useful things. You can change the wand's power through the app, but you can do that using the onboard plus and minus buttons on the wand too. but I really liked the guides that were included in the application. This let you see what the right settings were for the K5 with each thing you might want to clean. The other thing that you could do was see the accessories that would specifically work with your model, and even registering the device through the app got me a warranty. So all of those points were really useful. But from an app and a pairing standpoint, there wasn't much else. It also became disconnected from the app after a bit, and it's a struggle to get it to connect in the first place. I think the device needs a firmware update and then everything will be better there. But even when it was connected, it wasn't something that I felt like I would use regularly. The features are just too good as a plain old pressure washer, and I can tell you that I will enjoy this thing for years to come. So from that smart perspective, it's not really necessary, but this is an amazing pressure washer, and Karcher really does make great products that way. Give me a second. I do it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, this might reveal it. This is Yeelight's Cube Smart Lamp. And there are 3 different kinds of cubes. So this is called the Matrix. Then there's the panel, okay? And now there's the spot. So there's 3 different kinds of cubes. We have some extensions. So the smaller boxes here are extensions. And then we have the bigger 2 boxes, which are the main kit. This is customizable. You can build whatever you want to build. So let's get building. All right. It says these are going to connect with Wi-Fi at 2.4 gigahertz. It also says that they have Bluetooth 5.0. That's very important because these are Matter compatible. In case you haven't noticed on the box there, it says Matter. Here's the cube that you're going to get. This looks like a base for the whole system. So got everything out of the box for a main component here. I get to do a little bit of sounds of tech. Oh, I thought that was going to be faster, but then it was better. So here's what you get. You get the adapter right here. Looks like you could switch out the type of power plug, so I'm sure they're just selling different models in different areas. Then you get a base, and this is where you're going to plug in the power into. So that's what's making it different than some of these spot extensions or these matrix or panel extensions. You're going to plug it in like that. And then I believe this cube is actually just going to sit on top of this. Is that magnetic? Yes. But the other thing you're going to get is a little manual that's going to teach you what you need to know for setting this up. Wow. Oh, wow. So in one of these extensions, you get a little manual, you get a cube. That's it. I think that was it. I guess we'll find out later. Now, the cubes are exactly the same. Now, the base cube that I had a cover over this. So it kind of looks nice like that. I think you could leave it with just one if you wanted to. Now, look at how that looks. That is wild. And look, oh, that's directly at my camera. That is awesome. Look at this. And I can go back and forth. Oh, each one's pointed in a different direction. So you don't even have to necessarily make the effect one spot. I'm not even in the apps and these things look incredible. I like those spotlight ones. I think the spotlight's my favorite so far, but I imagine I'm gonna get more options with the other types. Hey, I'm almost gone here. Hey, and I'll tell you, I'm sitting here, look at that. Look, it says, set up your Matter device. So these have been detected already by my phone. We're all ready to go for Matter setup. Okay, let's get opening, hey? Okay, oh, I don't even have to unwrap that one. Woo. Okay, so I've got all of these built. I'm having some issues here with how things are actually working. Like this one's not on, and then these ones at the top, like you can see that little bit of that little bit of green right there. And this one barely seems on, but I think this is producing a different effect because it's in setup mode with matter. So I'm gonna try and set these up. So your matter QR code is on the base. It's next to the power cable. Let's go. Oh, matter. So right now I've got these things, they're out of the box. I've got one of them set up in the Google Home app because it's matter, but I mean, obviously the fun thing about these is that you can build them up and down. The effects already, before I've even got it into Yeelight's apps, are really neat because not only can I just build these things on top of each other, but look, so the spotlight, you just see, it just looks really different and you can go in different directions. And honestly, it's a pretty strong light on a wall in a pretty focused grouping there. So I'm really enjoying the way that that looks. Now I'm expecting the effects to be absolutely incredible. So let's get them all set up. I'm sure that this matter journey is going to be quite the journey, but it's already working in Google Home. I can control them on and off. There are about 100 things that I absolutely love about Yeelight cubes, and exactly one thing that I don't love. I love how rugged and reliable these are. I can't really scratch them and I can't really get them to go offline. That's the first time I've been able to say that about any matter product. So Yeelight has done something extra here and made their product reliable before matter has really come into its own. Every time I try to control these, they work, and that's not just through the Yeelight Station app, which is the app you use to set these up and to change their effects. See, there's a Yeelight Station PC app, Razer Chroma, and there is the button on the front of these that allows you to cycle between 8 of your favorite effects. And that's where the effects come in, because not only can you change to any effect that Yeelight has created themselves, but you can modify those effects with speed, direction, and color changes. Plus, you can create your own effects, and they can include symbols from Yeelight's library. Then you can use the clock effect, as long as you have 4 matrix cubes in a row. I love that you can rearrange these so quickly, and I love that it's so easy to rearrange the order of the cubes and the type of cubes you have in your design using the Station app. That'll cause you to redo your effects, but even that part of the process is fun. These work in a lot of locations, although you will notice they're a little big to put under something like a TV. But what I don't love is the price, and that's because these are exceptionally expensive. It's not unlike most specialty smart lighting products by any means, but that's the drawback here. Otherwise, I've thoroughly enjoyed these, and I enjoyed them so much, I created a full review for you to watch after today's video, or if you want, up in the top right corner of the screen now. This is the flippin' Aqara FP2. Holy smokes, what do we got going on here? Oh, I needed this. I needed that too. Separate story. Another time. Guys, the FP2 is a presence sensor that works with Aqara. This is the latest, the greatest we're gonna get from these guys. Ugh. Honestly, if you can't tell, I'm a little excited on this one. Holy smokes, we've got quite the... Look at this, look at this. Before I can get into what this thing can do, which is wild, let me tell you what you get in the box. So here is a screw and some other mounting hardware. I got 2 mounting plates. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or what, but I got 2 of these bad boys, and I've got 2 stickers that go with those mounting plates. Then I've got a serious manual, which is pretty much the case all the time with Aqara, and I've got a USB-A to USB-C cable. Now the sensor comes on its own stand, and you can see you've got the mounting hole at the back plus this stand, but I think for the most part you're going to be putting this against a wall, against a surface, upright, and this is going to be coming out. Now this is multi-people presence detecting. That is a wild thought. most of the presence sensors you're gonna find today are gonna say, yep, there's someone in the room. This also has fall detection on it, and that is a very important sensor type for a lot of people today. Plus, all of this is happening locally through your Aqara system. This is really important for moving beyond things like our motion sensors. This is very, very different. Now, I've seen some of the mapping capabilities already on this device, so I am so excited. There's a little button on the bottom. The stand also includes a HomeKit code on it, and the USB-C port is on the underside here, so you're gonna be coming in with the cable into there. It's using Wi-Fi to connect to your home, but it also has Bluetooth. I believe it's Bluetooth 4.2. Now, this is only going to connect at 2.4 gigahertz. That's not a big deal for a device like this. It's not pushing out a ton of data, so that Wi-Fi at 2.4 gigahertz is going to be just fine. The Aqara FP2 is definitely the most complex and comprehensive sensor I have ever worked with. It's not perfect, but that's mostly because you will struggle to get the setup right. Everything from placement to direction to what you have in your home will affect how this sensor performs. There are so many settings that you have to work through and get just right to get this sensor working. But once you have climbed that mountain, you will be incredibly impressed with what you can do with your home. I've been able to create zones in the biggest room in my home, and while the maximum room size is 430 square feet, I've been able to split up a room around 400 square feet into 3 zones and have the device successfully know when I or anyone else in my household are moving between those spaces. Even more impressive is when there's a few of us in those spaces and automations are running because of that. Even more impressive is that I can automate with all of those zones through Amazon or Apple HomeKit. And I can get Google Home to announce that I'm in a zone as if a doorbell was being pressed. Now, the FP2 has to be wired in all the time, and that can make installation a little bit tricky. And it can make it a little bit ugly too. But this is a small price to pay, and you can deal with this in many ways. Now, it's best to place the FP2 up high, but you need to really consider what you're pointing at. Things like plants or window coverings that can move, fans, heaters, air purifiers, and many more things with moving objects or heat generation can impact this sensor. You can deal with that through the incredible mapping feature and something called interference sources. But it takes time, and you'll probably move the sensor a couple of times and maybe even move some of the items in your home to get everything working exactly right. But I tell you, I don't want to move this sensor anymore because I have some pretty incredible automations working, and the pricing for this product isn't outlandish. Although, I will say, I think some of you will end up with a couple of these in every room of your home. Now, the FP2 is so complex that I made a full guide on how to use this device, and there are a lot more nuances to it than I can explain in today's video. So you can watch that up in the top right now, or you can check it out later in the links in the description. Brand new, just released by Nanoleaf. They are Matter over Thread compatible. But what's actually really interesting about this lineup is that you can still just use Bluetooth if you want. Now, I can tell you, I don't recommend that. You don't get as many features. Even if you just go to thread control, which you can do, you don't get quite as many features as Matter over Thread. Now, here's what you're getting in this package. This is the Nanoleaf bulb. This is what they've always looked like. They are very interesting to look at just because they're using, hang on, pentagonal shapes and triangles and squares. Now, you've got a Matter code on the package here, and you've got a Matter code on the physical bulb itself. Hey, I got a fixture right here. Let's do this thing. Woo! Still shocks me to this day how bright those are. I'm gonna put that out there for a sec so it's not blinding us. But look what happened. Set up your device. Matter popped up immediately. I can scan the QR code. I've noticed the Matter codes are very easy to scan. Now I can choose an app, so Google Home, Home Assistant, Smart Life, Smart Things. This is a very consistent lineup for myself, although Amazon just has started to turn on the Thread component. I'm gonna drop this into Smart Things. Hasn't always been perfect, but I wanna see what I can do. Device connected, okay. So that means it's connected to the Thread border routers in my home. It didn't ask me anything. I need to think about that for a minute. Now I can select a hub for my Matter device. Let me get that in there. Now the only thing is I picked the hub that is very far away. Doesn't seem to matter. Look at right away. It's connected. It's registering this bulb to my account. I mean, these aren't even released. This is going well. Off. Okay, we'll do on. It's instantaneous. Now let's test this color reproduction. I'm gonna pick, oh, that is pretty. Let's go to white. It's a lovely. Usually I don't like the very white lights. I like kind of the yellower temperatures, the lower Kelvin. But in this bulb so far, I'm enjoying the whole spectrum. In Smart Things, I got on or off or dimmer control or color temperature on both the trigger and the action side, so I can use this in a lot of different ways in those routines. I can share this bulb with other services. This is how Matter works. I could share it over to Google. I could share it over to Smart Life or Home Assistant. The Nanoleaf Essentials Matter bulb is exactly what you'd expect. Its color reproduction is excellent, its connectivity is excellent, and I had it working within Amazon, Google, Samsung SmartThings, and Apple HomeKit in just moments. I've been impressed with the connectivity, and it really doesn't seem to matter how I bring this bulb into my home. It just connects to a solid Thread network, and all of those systems seem to be able to connect to it. The only problem I had with this bulb ever was that sometimes when I was issuing commands for a color, it wasn't displaying that color, and sometimes I had to do it twice. But what I was really impressed with was how bright this bulb was, especially next to some of my Philips Hue 800 lumen smart bulbs. This just looked a lot brighter, and it's got that great color temperature and color control. From an overall standpoint, I will say that I'm impressed with Matter over Thread, and specifically this Nanoleaf product versus Matter over Wi-Fi to date. This is a much better experience. There's nothing like a new light strip to make your day. Honestly, these things have become ubiquitous with neat looks throughout your home. Now this one is from Eve. It's a light strip and it is Wi-Fi connected, which is a little different than some of their lineup. Now this is gonna be primarily connected to Apple HomeKit. And you know, in the future we might see other upgrades, because yeah, Eve is doing a lot of upgrades with a lot of their products to get them to be Matter compatible, but I don't think this one's yet on the list, or we're not clear as to what's going on exactly there. There's actually quite a bit in this box. Let's start with the boring stuff. Okay, product guide, but you do have your Apple HomeKit code on there. You got your wireless information and a card for connecting with them on social media. But then you get a little sticker. This is just a little 3M tape. Then you've got the power adapter. So here's the power adapter. It's going into the bottom of this adapter, which looks to have like almost a USB connector. It looks like a USB connector. It's not, but it looks like that. It also has the HomeKit code on it, so that's where it's sitting on this one. They always do a great job here, Eve does, in terms of making sure that you have that code available on the product as well as in the product manual. Now I'm gonna be super lazy, pull my cable through so I can plug this in a moment. And then we've got the strip itself. Now this strip, it feels amazing. It honestly does. I think this was a really nice touch how they put this extra layer of rubber, I think it'll diffuse a little bit, actually. Not a lot, but I think it'll have a bit of a diffusing effect on this strip. And then I can see that, you know, on the back we've got the tape that you would expect to go and put this all down wherever you'd like. And this other end, which looks very, like it's very small. You can see that little connector there, that's going in to a connector just like this, but they've sealed that up. And that's again, that's really nice. That's well thought out design. This thing can go bright. That's good. I mean, that's what you want, right? Look at that. I mean, can you even see it? I don't know how the footage is looking. We got a light strip sitting here. Let's do this thing. Inside our light strip pack, we got another manual with a matter code on it. Now here's the light strip itself. And I'll tell you, this feels a lot like what Eve did with their light strip. It feels very similar to theirs and how you're bending it. There's, well, the density of LEDs is really interesting. There's 4 kind of white around an RGB. There's pretty good distance around the RGB, so we're gonna have to see how that looks. And we have a connector for this, and now that's kind of the extra part of the light strip. So here we have the power adapter for the whole device. It's going in to this little controller. Now this little controller, it has another matter code on it, so that's actually nice placement. And then my adapter's going in there. This fairly big adapter though, they always are with light strips. I got a power button and I can cycle through the different effects very quickly, plus and minus, to, I assume, deal with brightness. Let's go to Blind Brian again. There it is. We blinded Brian. Really do instantly, I love the way these light strips feel. I could see that all 4 of these LEDs are being used, and instantly, just like the light bulb, let me set that over there. We're gonna be a little bright for a minute. Looking a little white in the camera, but instantly matter pops up with set up the device. So let's do it. Now, where's my QR code? Oh, here, on here. Getting my device ready. So it's getting added to Google Home's app at this point. It's in there. You can see I'm using the demo app. Oof. Okay, this is at 1% brightness. So we should be able to see now. 2 of the LEDs are on. And as I go to a cool white, it brings on the other LEDs. This is really interesting. When I go to, okay, there's candlelight in the Google Home app. It's using the middle. So there's a 5th one in the middle that is intended for colors. Ultramarine, that is a really nice blue on that strip. Now with the colors, I'll say they're fairly far apart with a fairly short strip here. You're not necessarily going to get the density of color coverage, but as you get into those whites, things get much denser. So I think that in this case, you might want to use or intend to use this kind of a light strip more in the whites, the color temperatures there. That might work out a little better for you. So candlelight is using 3 LEDs within each sequence. When I'm at a brighter number, then when I drop down kind of below, I'm below 10. Anytime I'm below 10% brightness, all I get on the candlelight is the middle color. I'm gonna compare the Nanoleaf Essentials Matter light strip and the Eve light strip. And obviously, connectivity-wise, these are a little bit different. You have one that is a matter over thread device, and that's very important, and actually why I ended up choosing this version over Eve's light strip. Now the funny thing is, when you look at these two light strips side by side, you're gonna feel like you're getting more LEDs. Things are gonna be a little bit brighter with the Nanoleaf version, but actually in almost every case, I have enjoyed the Eve color reproduction as well as the brightness and just the way that that light strip reproduces colors. When you're looking at it directly, sometimes it feels like it's gonna be off, but as soon as you're diffusing this off of a wall or behind something, this light strip reproduces its colors perfectly. So while I was really impressed with that from Eve, this one's not ready for Matter yet, and that has meant that the Nanoleaf Essentials Matter light strip is the one that I'm going to use going forward. It works great in the Nanoleaf app, although once in a while commands weren't going through to this light strip, and actually using Apple HomeKit, I was having to issue color change commands twice to this. So there were some little control nuances that weren't perfect, and I'm sure over time those will be fixed. But using that light strip through all the different apps is exactly why I wanted to use that one over the Eve version. But if the Eve version ever gets upgraded, I'll probably include that in my home's setup too. Both of these light strips are really great from that color and ambience perspective. Now, both of these are going to cost you a pretty penny, and when we're looking at only 6 feet of light strip, although you can extend these are going to be on the expensive side, and I'm not sure when compared to some of the light strips from a company like Govee if that's making sense. The only real benefit to going with these, or to going specifically with the Nanoleaf, is that Matter over Thread. Like, you wouldn't believe the shot I just made. But here's what I got. It's a giant LED floor light. And it's a Tuya version. So it's gonna go into the Smart Life app or the Tuya app. Got it. You guys make of it what you want to make of it. I didn't do anything. Here's everything you get in the E-Ray Tuya RGB floor lamp. Now you get an LED strip. Let me show you a couple interesting things about that in a second. And that's gonna go just inside this, which is basically a cover. And then these are kind of the poles that are gonna go around all the way up. And then this is your top and your bottom. Now that's gonna go into the base right here. And here's a couple of connector pieces. Then you've got some other connector pieces. Lots of them, or a couple of them, have a 3M sticky tape on them. You get a remote to control the whole thing, and you get a power adapter. I can't do much sitting here with it all in pieces, and honestly, this one's a little complex to build. So I'm gonna go build it and let you see what kind of effects, what kind of look we get out of all of this. Now this is a floor lamp. There's really no brand to it, and that's because this is the kind of thing that pops up with Tuya. So what happens is Tuya, they connect companies or even individuals to manufacturers. And then the manufacturers have, you know, basic hardware, or they have designs like this that are ready to go. Oh, this is the lamp. Like I almost threw this out. This is the lamp, and it is not packaging. Yeah. This is not gonna survive. I don't know how to build this. Wait, there's a manual. For your safety, please entrust professional installation. I don't think I'm professional, but we could pretend. There's a lot of LEDs on this. It's a fairly well constructed strip, and then it's gonna get stuck to the pole here, more or less, like this. You basically clip those on and then wrap it around. Blue, green. There we go. CT. Colored. Oh, look at that. That's kind of fun. Seems like the controller, like this, it's not working that well. It's just, this has got to be perfectly positioned to hit that IR receiver. Maybe I'm on the wrong side of it here. Actually pretty good. There we go. Now I've got it working. I just had to get to the right side of this. Lots of different things. Now I can increase the speed. Whoa, we're really going. Let's turn down that speed. Come on. No, that's there. Mode auto. Whoa. If you gotta force it. All right. Here's the truth. I could sit here for an hour and try to figure this out on camera, or I could pretend I'm a genius and build this not on set. Both of these two Tuya-based smart lamps had 4 stars on Amazon when I bought them. So I was excited to build both of them, and actually neither of the build processes were that difficult. I did struggle with some parts of the E-ray floor lamp because the LED strip actually didn't maintain a sticky back at all, and so it started to fall down, so I had to solve that with everybody's favorite, hockey tape. Once I got the E-ray built, I plugged it in and it sat there and flashed. Now, if you've ever used Smart Life bulbs or Tuya bulbs, then you know lots of them do that until you've set them up. Unfortunately, this one would never take a command from the remote. Despite the remote, I tested it out, it was working, and I actually tested it with the torchlit floor lamp. And that's where the torchlit was actually easier to build. It came together very well. There were no components I felt that were really bad, except maybe the paper covering. I'm absolutely sure that I could break that paper. I could rip it, and probably will if I ever try to move it too far and bang it into something. The rod that is actually holding that all down is spring loaded too, so when I go to take this out, it could be a little bit dicey, but this builds just like an IKEA lamp of old where they had those paper meshes, and yet it looks a lot better, or at least I think it looks a lot better. Now, this is not gonna be for everyone, but the effects are really nice and the control is pretty good through the Smart Life or Tuya applications. I only ran into a couple of problems with the torchlit light. Number one, every once in a while in the app, it would just stop responding. Now, the remote still allows the device to respond, so it was just seeming to get hung up on executing things in the app. I don't know what that's about. The other problem was Google, Amazon, both of those didn't really have access to these different scenes, and there's a lot of great scenes, so I wish they did have access to that. I can really only just change to color and brightness or on or off status with those. SmartThings didn't bring the lamp in at all, and obviously this isn't going into Apple HomeKit anytime soon, or at least not without a home bridge. So you're really just getting control through that remote, or you're getting control through the Smart Life app with this one. But if I had to pick one, I would go with the torchlit, and actually, I kind of like it. Now, okay, when it says mercury content, no, on a box, that makes me wonder, like, is the rest of the stuff that I open mercury content yes, and they just don't label it? Like, why? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so we've got like a circular speaker type device. Very, yes, I always have a Google Home Mini around to compare things to, but very, very close to that. The cloth even feels very googly. It's a 600 milliamp hour battery, and it's gonna plug in using this cable that's been given to us. Seems like we have a shower ring. Yeah, that's a shower ring. I know what a shower ring is. And then we have like a carabiner too. So a couple different options. I guess you could take this with you because it has that 600 milliamp hour battery on board. Let's get this bad boy plugged in and see what's going on. Little green light when we plugged her in. Ooh. I didn't mean to do it. Stop. Ooh, look at that. So now I've got it on a carabiner. Obviously, you could take this with you as a little sound machine. Maybe you want to go biking. I don't know. Want to take it to the library, have a sound machine? Again, I don't know. Download the Hotmoon app. Sleep, meditation, nursery, relax. There you go. Click to add my device. Omini, HMN. There you go. So it asked me a few things, but then like it's working. Yeah, now I've got a full control for this light. Let's see. So it wasn't just a few lighting colors I could produce there. I can save a light and sound combination as a scene. So this is actually going to get pretty interesting. You know, this is a really neat sound controller. So when I pick a sound, it starts to kind of give me a little water effect there. And there's plus or minus buttons on here. And as I hit those pluses or minuses, it raises the speaker. Now, this will all be done through a Bluetooth connection between my phone. When I go to save a preset, I actually get some additional options. There is the lighting, and as I choose the light here, I get kind of two options between, you know, just a basic light on there, which would be like that, and then I get the meditation light, which actually means it's gonna turn off after a few seconds here. So that's a very different type of mode. They call it a breathe light. So that's actually what it's doing. It's coming on and off, and then you get to choose the sound, you get to create a name for it, and then you get to set a timing for how long you'd like that to go for. All of that saved into a scene. This thing's wild. I gotta turn down the sound here. Look at that. Look at that. There is so much going on here. When I opened this thing up, I had no idea where it came from, and I had no idea what it was all about. But the fact is, this is one of my favorite smart speakers I've ever received. But the Hotmoon Omini, I think that's how you say it, is an incredibly well-built device with some really fun features, and an app that's actually just as good as the speaker itself, and you don't even need the speaker. Now, what I mean by that is the app has a massive library that allows you to play a number of different sounds. And if you'd like, you can build your own DIY mix of sounds. You can add 3 different sounds from the app into a single one, and then play that either through the speaker or even just through your phone. Plus, the buttons on the speaker just allow you to cycle through different sounds, different effects with the lighting, different colors as well, and it's the whole interface for the speaker. Now, it's not a great speaker by any means, but that's not what it's all about. This is a battery-powered speaker that you can take anywhere. It can hold a charge for a very long time, and I still haven't actually run it out of batteries, and I've been using this thing. Plus, if you just want to play other sources, so from other apps on your phone, as long as you've connected the speaker through Bluetooth, it's just a plain old Bluetooth speaker. So the real genius from this comes from the extra little light, the onboard controls, and the fact that it's just a plain old Bluetooth speaker that connects to a really great app. This one's a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this one because I'm enjoying it today. Now, this is a fairly limited use case type of product these days. In fact, you might say I'm just buying stuff for the purposes of buying smart stuff and trying it out. What happened to my packaging? Here's what you get in the box with the Tuya fingerprint padlock. Oh, You get the padlock, which you just saw me unlock with my finger. There you go, ready? That's it. This is what I bought. And then you get a little charging cable, and then you get a manual. And that manual does have an English side. Now on the bottom, you do have that charging port for this cable in case it's not working. And then you're gonna set it up in the Smart Life app. It's not a really heavy device. I would think though that there's probably a fairly easy way to break this padlock. It doesn't seem like the heaviest, hardest, or strongest lock that I've ever dealt with. That doesn't mean I know how to break it. Somebody else will. Is it in pairing mode? Yeah, it found it. It discovered it. Okay, it's a BLE lock. Now this is only Bluetooth, so keep that in mind. I've hit add, and now it's added successfully. So I'm done. It's already telling me it's at 20% battery life, which I'll have to charge, 19, and now I'm gonna hit that little lock button. I'm locking. No, didn't work. But it looks like down here, yeah, I can just swipe that. That was fast. Add my fingerprint. How to add fingerprint. Place a finger on the finger recognition area several times. Okay, I'm gonna hit add. Here it is. I have to do it 8 times. It's telling me to do this 8 times. And I could add more if I'd like under me. I can also add additional people to the app, or I can share it. So this would allow you to have multiple people open it up. Now, hopefully, because I've added a fingerprint, that's right, yeah, it didn't work. So as soon as you add someone in the app, now I can't get in unless, yes. There you go. And it looks like as long as you have the app and a power source nearby, you're going to be able to have that extra mode for unlocking it. This smart lock goes into the Smart Life app. It connects to a hub that I've had for some time. That hub is both a Zigbee and a Bluetooth hub, and then that allows me to bring it into the Smart Life app. But the problem with this device is twofold. The first one is a little bit forgivable. Sometimes the fingerprint scanner is a little bit touchy. It doesn't work quite right. But the second problem is completely unforgivable. This thing dies in just a day or 2. Its full battery drains down, and I'm not doing anything with it, and it's not far away from the hub either. So it's a completely unacceptable device, and I would tell all of you to never purchase this one, and that's despite the fact that it was kind of fun to have. Continuing in our Shelly adventure, here is the Shelly Button 1. Now this is a smart Wi-Fi button. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. Here's what you get. A little QR code to scan it in order to join our Facebook support group. Facebook support for the product, or just because you're on Facebook, you need support personally. Then you get a couple of guides. This is a safety guide. This is telling you how to get the button set up, and here's the button. There's a couple of things I do like about the design. Number one, there's a little color ring, which means you can find it. Once you've pressed it, you can find the button. Maybe you don't need to find the button after you've pressed it, but I think that can help in a few ways. But what I mean by that, it's a good visual indication for people to know that they've actually engaged with the device. Sometimes with these smart buttons, you don't know, they're kind of a funny press. The second thing I really like about it, it has a couple of little holes up here. I think it's gonna have some audio feedback. And these 2 holes up in the top corner, they are allowing you to kind of wrap a string through so you could hook this onto something if you'd like. And the other thing that's really great is this is a USB chargeable device. And again, with Shelly, these are all Wi-Fi devices. And that's very interesting for them to try with a button. You know, a button kind of goes to sleep after you pressed it. You know, it takes a couple of seconds to wake up, so you actually have to press it twice if you've kind of gone long periods in between using it. The Shelly Button is a really interesting option because it's Wi-Fi connected and highly configurable. All of Shelly's products can use their app, or they can go without it. But if you want to integrate this with other smart home products, you will have to do a little bit of work. And with most systems, you have to connect to the Shelly app. Home Assistant integration doesn't require the Shelly app, and you can connect and get the most options there. But just through Shelly, you can use things like webhooks to fire events to different services, like If This Then That. Also, using the Shelly app means you can connect to Amazon, which provides probably the easiest and biggest benefit I saw with this device. A press of the button with integration in Amazon can act just like a doorbell as it rings your speakers. So this means you could use this as a doorbell without a video if you don't want video on your porch. And it's rechargeable, and it seems to work every time. I haven't had issues with the button not waking up when it's pressed, but there is a 2 to 3 second delay once it's pressed to wait for the action to occur. All right, Automators, that's what I've got for you. Check out the video that's up on screen now. That's our last unboxing just last month with some more great smart home technology in there for you. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, don't hate, automate.